WrestleRave title fight. Aaron Mercer vs. Hayon. The buzz in Houston had been growing for weeks. WrestleRave, known for its underground grit and passionate crowd, was about to host its most anticipated main event in months. Aaron Mercer vs. Hayon for the WrestleRave Championship. Mercer, the self-proclaimed king of Texas strong style, had run roughshod over the roster for nearly 6 months. His strikes left welts, his submissions snapped ligaments, and his intensity made him feared inside the squared circle. Fans respected his brutality, but wondered if anyone could truly withstand it. Enter Hayon, the Beauty and the Beast Slayer, a Houston favorite. She'd carved her reputation by going toe-to-toe with the toughest competitors, men or women. Every time doubters thought she'd fold, she dug deeper. The story was simple. Mercer's merciless dominance versus Hayon's resilience and fighting spirit. The atmosphere, the warehouse-turned-arena, shook as the WrestleRave faithful packed shoulder to shoulder. Neon lights bounced off graffiti-tagged walls, and the crowd was hot, chanting before the bell even rang. Hayon, 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 Mercer's gonna kill you. This was WrestleRave at its rawest, no corporate gloss, no overproduction, just raw passion and violence waiting to erupt. Entrances, the house lights dimmed. A guttural roar of guitars thundered over the PA system. Aaron Mercer emerged, hood up, fists taped, eyes locked forward. He didn't waste a second playing to the crowd. His presence alone drew loud boos mixed with uneasy respect. He slid under the bottom rope and sat cross-legged in the corner, staring at the entrance ramp, unblinking. Then, the atmosphere flipped. Purple strobes lit up the venue as Hayon's music hit. The Houston native stepped out, championship dreams in her eyes, clad in gleaming gear that reflected the lights like armor. She slapped hands with fans, her confidence radiating. The building thundered with support. "Let's go Hayon, Mercer sucks." Sheet climbed the turnbuckle, pointed directly at Mercer, and mouthed, "This is my city. This is my night." The opening bell, ding ding ding, the bell rang, and instantly the tension snapped tight. Mercer stood slowly, towering like a predator. Hayon bounced on her toes, circling cautiously. They locked up. Mercer muscled her into the corner, his forearm pressing hard against her throat. The ref counted, but Mercer only broke at 4, backing off with a smirk. The crowd jeered. Hayon exploded out with speed, ducking a lariat and firing off sharp forearm smashes. 1, 2, 3, 4, each one echoed. Mercer stumbled back a step, but then fired a knee to the gut that folded Hayon in half. Scrack. A vicious chop from Mercer snapped across her chest. The crowd groaned. He grabbed her wrist and whipped her into the ropes, but Hayon ducked a back elbow, rebounded, and drop-kicked Mercer square in the chest. The fans roared as Mercer hit the mat for the first time. Hayon kipped up, adrenaline surging. Hayon. Hayon. Mercer sat up, expression dark, rubbing his sternum. This wasn't going to be the walkover he'd imagined. Hayon's opening flurry lit up the arena, but Mercer wasn't about to let momentum slip away. He rose from the mat slowly, a sick grin curling across his face. The dropkick hadn't humbled him, had angered him. They circled again. Mercer feigned a grapple, then snatched Hayon by the wrist, yanking her forward into a brutal short-armed lariat. The impact flipped her nearly inside out, dropping her hard to the canvas. The crowd gasped. Mercer dropped into a lateral press. 1, 2, kick out, shoulder. Hayon shoved her shoulder up, but Mercer didn't look surprised. Instead, he rained down elbow strikes to her jaw, each one heavier than the last. The referee warned him, but Mercer ignored it, dragging Hayon up by her hair. With a snap, he whipped her into the corner and charged. Smash! A running knee to the gut folded her over the turnbuckle. Mercer then hooked her arms, hoisted her to the middle rope, and delivered a rope-hung neckbreaker that sent her crashing to the mat, clutching her throat. The fans booed viciously. "Mercer sucks! Mercer sucks!" Mercer stood tall, soaking it in like fuel. He looked out at the fans and barked, "This is your hero." Before stomping Hayon's chest, Mercer's cruel streak for the next several minutes, Mercer dismantled Hayon piece by piece. He bent her in half with a bandero stretch, wrenching her back as she screamed in pain. He targeted her ribs with kicks sharp as gunshots, each one lifting her off the mat. He grounded her with a suffocating rear chinlock, forcing the ref to check if she was fading. The crowd rallied desperately. "Let's go, Haeyeon! Clap, 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 clap." With every chant, Haeyeon twitched, refusing to let the lights dim. She fought to her knees, throwing elbows into Mercer's ribs. She broke free, ran the ropes, but Mercer was ready. He cut her down with a spine-shattering tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, holding her across his knee and pressing down to inflict extra damage. He hooked her leg. 1-2. Tino. The arena erupted as Haeyeon kicked out again. Mercer's smirk wavered into a scowl. Haeyeon fights back. Mercer dragged Haeyeon to her feet, going for another suplex, but this time, Haeyeon slipped free, landing behind him. She staggered, clutching her ribs but then exploded with a roundhouse kick to the side of Mercer's head. The strike staggered the big man. The crowd came alive. Haeyeon followed with a springboard crossbody, crashing into him and finally taking him down. Both wrestlers lay on the mat as the ref began the count. 1, 2, 3. The fans stomped the floor, rallying. Mercer crawled toward the ropes, while Hoon pushed herself upright, fire in her eyes. Momentum shift. June. Charge first clothesline. Mercer didn't go down. She hit another. Mercer staggered, but stayed upright. She rebounded a third time. Full sprint. Bam! Flying forearm. Mercer crashed to the mat. The crowd exploded. Haeyeon mounted the turnbuckles, high-risk territory. She measured him, then soared. Diving splash, she hooked both legs. 1, 2, Mercer powers out. The crowd groaned, but Haeyeon was rolling now. She kipped up, signaling to the fans. The chant thundered again. Haeyeon, Haeyeon, Haeyeon. The turning point. Mercer pulled himself up slowly, fury burning in his eyes. Haeyeon moved in to press the advantage, but Mercer snatched her out of mid-motion, hoisting her into the air and drilling her with a pop-up powerbomb. The ring shook. Haeyeon's body folded on impact. Mercer covered. 1-2 THR. Haeyeon kicks out. The arena erupted. People were on their feet, screaming in disbelief. Mercer sat back on his knees, glaring at the referee. Then at Haeyeon. She was still moving, still alive. Mercer muttered under his breath, "Stay down." But everyone knew she wouldn't. The fans were unglued. Mercer's pop-up powerbomb should have ended it. But Haeyeon's shoulder shot up like pure instinct. Mercer's scowl deepened into outright rage. He rose, dragging Haeyeon up by her wrist, and started clubbing her across the chest with stiff forearms. Each one echoed, the sound of raw meat hitting bone. Crowd, boo-hoo, Haeyeon, Haeyeon. Mercer whipped her into the ropes. She ducked the lariat, rebounded, and launched herself codebreaker. Haeyeon's knees crashed into Mercer's face. He staggered backward, dazed, but didn't fall. Shoo. Haeyeon popped to her feet, eyes blazing. She sprinted again, rebounded superkick to the jaw. Mercer dropped to one knee. The crowd exploded. Haeyeon screamed to the heavens and hit the ropes once more. Running knee strike to the temple. Finally, Mercer collapsed flat to the mat. Haeyeon sprawled across him for the cover. 1, 2, 3. The referee's hand was an inch from the canvas when Mercer jerked a shoulder up. The building shook with noise. Both fighters spent, both combatants lay heaving, sweat dripping. The referee hovered, checking them. Mercer crawled to the corner, clutching his jaw. Haeyeon used the ropes to pull herself up, her chest heaving, her ribs bruised. Their eyes locked across the ring to warriors, battered but unbroken. They staggered forward. The arena roared as they stood nose to nose, exchanging forearms. Mercer, glassy-eyed, rolled to the apron. Haeyeon followed, grabbing his wrist. But Mercer snapped into motion, yanking her throat first across the top rope. She gasped for air, stumbling back. Haeyeon's hand hovered. The pain was unbearable. She clawed forward inch by inch until, finally, fingertips grazed the bottom rope. The referee ordered the break. Mercer held on until 4, then released, pounding the mat in fury.